mouths any time a laugh threatened to escape and awaken the cause of their amusement. When the spasming of the dog's butt became more intermittent, Mike found his attention being drawn to his laughing friend. He could almost feel the bottled laughter shaking his friend's body, even though they were not touching. This awareness of another body so like his own but not him was an electric energy that seemed to grow stronger as the seconds passed. The pull was a kind of magic. His stomach felt funny as his glances progressed to an open stare. Paolo looked up and the laughter died in his throat. They sat like statues for several minutes, neither daring to look away or draw closer until Paolo swallowed. His mouth had been salivating like someone being tempted with a huge slice of chocolate cake. He leaned an inch closer to his treat. Mike answered with an inch of his own, over and over like a dare, until their lips met. Mike stared into the empty room and smiled at the memory of his first kiss, unmarred by tongues or other complications. Paolo's mother had found an office job in the next state over soon after, so instead of being consumed bite by bite, the seed had been allowed to grow into something more. His hand rubbed around the decorative embellishment of the wooden stair rail, like a lover trying to preserve the feel of his partner on what he is sure will be their last kiss. As alien as this mansion felt sometimes, it was also a museum that housed a good portion of his memories. Many of his firsts had happened in this house. A single wall separated his first kiss from his first time making love. Mike had only to move his gaze from the den to the library next door. Everything had been different with Wesley. He was like a door that had shut out any possibility of returning. There had been quite a few boys between the two rooms, but looking back, they were all sort of the same. Wesley was not the opposite of Mike. He was as tall, as pasty, and as wealthy as Mike. Everyone up until that point had been an opposite of Mike in look and background. He could pull himself inside these men and then pull himself out again, and pretend he was still the same person after, because he was not like them. Wesley saw him for what he was as soon as they met in their final year of college. Chapter 2. At some point, parents give up on the middle child. The first gets the family title and the youngest gets a free pass to be an asshole. But Mike always felt a small amount of freedom from being in the middle. Despite mourning the loss of his uncle for a second time, Mike's grades were exemplary that first year. His parents asked to see his marks only once. After they were sure he was well on his way to a bachelor's degree in business management, they ignored him. By second semester, he had declared a new major in mechanical engineering, a degree he completed without them ever finding out. He did get a minor in business to keep up appearances, which was where he met Wesley. "So," said Wesley, leaning in to shout the words into Mike's ear at the crowded bar filled with their classmates, "tell me about the first guy who sucked you off." Mike's face went red, and he glanced guiltily around the room to see if anyone saw. "Save it," Wesley said to his stammering objections. "Let's go back to my place and discuss our mutual love of all mankind." He slid into his navy wool coat and handed its twin to Mike, who, upon accepting, followed behind like a silent shadow. "How did you know?" Mike asked. "Thanks," he added after being handed a double whiskey on the rocks. He was seated on the far end of Wesley's couch. "I know who I am, so it makes it easier to see it in other people," Wesley said after taking a seat and a sip of the amber liquid. "I've been watching you for a while. You haven't seemed to come to terms with your homosexuality." What about you?" "I don't see you parading down the quad with a rainbow flag." Wesley laughed at the thought and replied, "There's a difference between lying to the people around you and lying to yourself. I used to pretend that the way I felt about men was like a switch I could turn off and on, that by controlling what I did with guys was a way of controlling myself, I guess." Mike felt his skin prickle at his most intimate thoughts being spoken by a complete stranger, but he said nothing. Wesley leaned in so close that Mike could smell the whiskey on his breath. "Just for the record, I'm not going to suck that thick cock of yours until you pop your mouth cherry on mine." After another burst of inarticulate denials, Mike stormed out of Wesley's suite. Over the next weeks, the waves of anger and fear of being outed waned. Shared classes ensured that